All right. You're a nurse, right? And you're working now currently within our current health system, and you've been told that it's really tough to get extra money because we're well over budget, and we're going to have to economise, even to the point they're considering taking Milo out of the staff room. What was it doing in there to start with? That's the question I've always wanted to ask, but there you go. Anyhow, during all this, Te Whātau Ora, in actual fact, decide that you are going to have some nice training. So you decide, training of what? You're thinking, they're more clinical training, fair enough. How do I do my job better? No, you're going to have some training on rainbow awareness. As a consequence, you write on a social media site, as a nurse working for the Hawke's Bay District Health Board, it's so amazing that whilst we have a hire freeze on for nurses and frontline staff due to budget constraints, the health boards see the need to fund workshops like this for staff to attend. Really? How about hire some staff to make our workplaces safer for both the workers and our patients, she says. And then, whoa, it all kicks off. And at that point, I should introduce to you Nick Hanne from the Free Speech Union, the Education Partnership Manager for there. Nick, welcome to the show. Good morning to you.
Morning, Michael. Good to be with you.
Her name is Jenny Hobson. She's a registered nurse from Hawke's Bay. She expresses this view online. I think a lot of people would go, yeah, that's a bit odd. What happens next, mate?
So someone has reported her to Health New Zealand and the Nursing Council. They have seen these two posts, and it seems like potentially this person is an activist or just a concerned member of the public, so to speak. And this has been passed on to these authorities, and then they have said, well, this needs to be investigated. And so she's been hauled before their investigative panel, and they're looking into whether there is some serious misconduct here.
Right, because she's written that.
Yep. Two very simple, fairly brief posts on a private Facebook group, which someone is probably infiltrated, and they have an axe to grind, because they don't like the views in this Facebook group, which Jenny happened to share, and that's taking this very skeptical view of the Rainbow Storytime and the sort of the transgender lobby.
Right. So if she's working for Television New Zealand, she could take a week off and get paid for the hikoi and come back to a job, but apparently not. You can't do this at Health New Zealand in Hawke's Bay. What? So she's hauled in front of what? The Nursing Council or Health Hawke's Bay or whatever the name is, or both?
Well, she's in trouble with both. Of course, the Nursing Council are going to be responsible for her registration, and Health New Zealand are obviously her employer. So, this, I don't know at this stage. I don't want to speculate on whether there's a whole lot of coordination between those two agencies. But certainly they are both unhappy with her, and they are both taking her to task.
So how does the Free Speech Union get involved?
At the moment, yeah.
How do you get involved in this? So at what point does the FSU get involved?
So Jenny reached out to us and said, "Look, I'm in this difficulty," and so we've got involved, and our lawyer, senior counsel, has got involved and has attended a meeting with Jenny and those investigating the misconduct, the alleged misconduct.
So you've provided legal counsel to her to go along to these particular misconduct hearings. Have they happened already?
Yeah. So there's been one already just last week. And, I can't go into the details of that conversation at the moment because it's ongoing. But certainly we're in Jenny's corner, and we're going to be fighting for her right to, of course, express her beliefs, which in this situation we think are entirely, legitimate as a form of freedom of expression. Good
God. Now, I understand that the posts that I've just read them out, posted, the Hawke's Bay Health or Health Hawke's Bay and the Nursing Council say, she has exhibited conduct that has the potential to bring Health New Zealand into disrepute. Yep. 2, public disparagement of Health New Zealand's initiative to create a safe, inclusive environment for all patients. And C, 3, concern that personal beliefs may impact the safety of those receiving care, particularly anyone in the rainbow community. So let me get this right. She doesn't want to go to a rainbow awareness workshop, but she's now going to be she's accused of mistreating or potentially mistreating anybody who comes in who's gay, lesbian or transsexual. Have I got that right?
Well, strictly speaking, she's questioned why these sorts of workshops are being held and the money being spent on it, when of course there's a shortage of nursing staff in this country, and Health New Zealand is spending money on these very fashionable, politically correct initiatives, but the people at the front line, are struggling, and that was the point of Jenny's post. So it's not even that she's saying in the post, I'm not going to undergo training. She's actually simply said in the post, I disagree with the way that funding's being allocated.
Yeah. This is extraordinary. And happening in 2024, on November 2024, is free speech under threat? This must mean surely for every nurse, every clinician in New Zealand, if they just ask the same question, is this really a priority? Is this what you're reading from this?
Yeah, and it's not just nurses. I mean, that's the thing, Michael. I personally, I'm a teacher by profession, and I went through the same thing on the same issue. I was reported by an activist for a blog that I wrote last year, questioning why there wasn't a debate in education around the promotion of trans ideology. Now, that's my personal view, and I'm not saying this on behalf of FSU, because we don't have substantive stances on this stuff, but that was my personal view. I shared it online on a blog, and an activist reported me to the Teaching Council. And I then went through 4 months of waiting to see what the Teaching Council were going to do, because they considered that there was something to look into. And so, being put through that process is extremely stressful. Yeah. And the thought that you might be deregistered or censured for doing this is a huge, stick, really, to wave at people.
You'd think that in both Health New Zealand and with the Teachers Council, for example, there must be a mechanism that goes, no, that's free speech. He's entitled to say that. He's not saying it in the classroom, off we go. But is there not that mechanism, or do you think there would be if you had different views on a different issue?
Well, I mean, the point is, what you say does make a difference, right? So exactly what are you saying? Are you saying that I refuse to treat certain people who claim an identity?
That's the allegation.
Like talking about here. Yeah. I refuse to treat those people, or even to look at them as human beings. There might be some obviously concerns to look into there, but that's not what these claims are. That's not what's being said. What's being said is I disagree with a certain ideology. I disagree with a certain approach to funding, like with these sorts of workshops. Right. So in the case of Jenny, it's questioning and it's challenging and it's saying I disagree with a way of thinking. Not that she's not refusing to treat or care for people.